All right, let's talk about something that gets every new investor, that first big wave of fear. We're going to walk through a really simple but powerful story that all starts with just $100 and a lesson that could honestly save you from quitting before you even really get started. This right here, this captures a feeling that pretty much everyone goes through. You have that initial excitement, right? And then it just gets crushed by the panic of seeing your money go down for the very first time. It is a total make or break moment, and it's exactly where our story begins.
So let's get into this $100 journey. And don't worry, we're not going to be throwing a bunch of complex charts or confusing financial jargon at you. Nope. This is all about the real human experience of taking that very first step into the world of investing. So let's meet our main character for today, Miles. He's 22, kind of broke, and he's probably a lot like you or someone you know. He sees all the buzz online, people making money, posting their wins, and he's thinking, hey, why not me? He's tired of being on the sidelines, so he decides it's finally time to get in the game.
And what's he starting with? Not thousands of dollars, not some big inheritance, just $100. And this is so important because it just goes to show you that you do not need a fortune to start. The biggest investment here isn't the money. It's the decision to just begin.
Now, what's he working with? What's his toolkit look like? Well, it's more about what he didn't have. He had absolutely zero experience. No mentor to call for advice, just a whole lot of YouTube videos and, a ton of hope. This is the reality for so many of us, right? We're just trying to piece it all together as we go.
And this brings us to the moment that every single new investor faces. It's that jarring collision where the dream of making easy money smacks right into the hard reality of how markets actually work. At first, it feels kind of like a video game. It feels easy. You buy your first stock, and then what do? You're glued to that app, refreshing the screen every 10 minutes, just waiting for the number to go up. That little dopamine hit is so addictive. And Miles was hooked, watching his tiny investment like a hawk.
And then it happens. A little dip. Just $5. It's not the end of the world, but it's just enough to plant that first tiny seed of doubt. And that easy, fun feeling, it's starting to fade. And that little seed of doubt, it starts to grow. Now he's down $12. That's over 10% of his entire investment. All of a sudden, refreshing the app isn't fun anymore. It's actually pretty nerve-wracking. The anxiety is really starting to creep in.
And there it is, down $20. 20% of his hard-earned money, just gone in a few days. Now, for a new investor, this feels absolutely catastrophic. All that hope he started with has been totally replaced by this giant, sinking knot in his stomach.
And this just perfectly captures that psychological shift, doesn't it? The investment doesn't feel like a smart opportunity anymore. It just feels like a foolish, dumb mistake. And this is the moment of truth. Do you sell, lock in your loss, and just quit? Or do you find another way? This is where the story completely pivots. Because instead of quitting, Miles learned something so fundamental, a lesson that would change his entire approach to building wealth forever. And here it is, the big lesson. Real success in investing isn't about picking that one perfect stock that goes to the moon overnight. It's about your ability to just stay in the game when things get scary. It's about resilience, not about perfect timing. So, armed with this powerful new perspective, Miles didn't give up. He just rebooted. He started over. But this time, he had a strategy. And it was built on patience instead of panic. And his new plan was so simple, it's brilliant. First, he decided to focus on simple, beginner-friendly investments, nothing fancy. Second, he had to break that addiction to the refresh button, stop checking the app all the time. And third, and this is by far the hardest part, he had to learn to be patient and actually trust the process. And look, this is the reality check that we all need. Your first $100 is not a lottery ticket, it's tuition. It's the fee you pay to learn the emotional lessons of investing now, while the stakes are small. So you're prepared when you eventually have $1,000 or $10,000 on the line. Okay, so we've learned from Miles' story. That's great. But how do we turn his lesson into a concrete plan for you? Let's make this personal, and let's make it actionable.
It really all comes down to two different mindsets. Are you gambling or are you investing? The short-term gambling mindset, it's all about chasing daily prices, riding this emotional roller coaster of fear and greed. But the long-term investing mindset, that focuses on the real value of what you own, and it's driven by patience.
You're thinking in years, not in days. The choice is yours.
So, if you want to stop that destructive habit of constantly checking prices, you've got to replace it with something constructive. So instead of opening your app, open a book. Instead of checking every day, set a calendar reminder to just check in once a month. And my personal favorite, automate your investing so emotion has way less of a chance to mess things up. Set it and forget it.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. That first $100, it isn't just about the money. It's a catalyst. It can be the start of a mistake that you quit on, or it can be the start of a lifelong habit of patiently building your wealth. The lesson is learned, the plan is here, the only question left is the one on your screen.